Hi viewers, now that we have done up to the coordinates of Earth and the types of maps, it's time that we start thinking about what is the next topic that we have to cover. In order to plan, remember we have covered making of the map, covering all these tables, okay? And after this, we have moved into scaling to type of Earth. Remember, we have also introduced the coordinates without telling the coordinates are longitude and latitude. We have introduced globe, positioning of globe to develop thematic maps like physical, political map. So these areas are now completed. Now the next area will be how to tell them that legends are important or symbols are important. The question comes here is how exactly can we enable them to think in that direction? In order to give that idea, our planning should be in such a way that the extension is taken to extension of thematic maps, application and uses of different types of maps that we have covered should also cover areas of commonality. For example, in my locality, I have a hospital. Now, in all localities, there will be an hospital. How exactly should that be represented in the map? Using individual symbols, or can we use this common symbol? So there are certain common symbols that are given. So now understanding the common symbol is very important. So here we have to give them a task of reconnecting with your prior knowledge activity, and we will have to bring that same here during our planning. So here remember, it is not about them doing anything, it is about them understanding. So understanding is a very large concept. So I'm just leveling it down or scaling it down to recognize, because they cannot do anything new here. Recognize that use of common symbols help deciphering maps easily. Recognize. You can also use appreciate, because we are going to help them recognize the symbols and appreciate the use of common symbols. Okay, so this becomes our next objective. Now, after this, remember distance is also a concern. Okay, so here we have to tell them the importance of scaling. So in the map, actually, we are scaling down the distances. So how exactly can we bring that about? So we travel from here to a certain place. They can refer Google Earth and identify the distance, actual distance. And when they have made it in a map or plotted it in a map, so what is the distance that they would like to bring it down to? So this can be a graphical approach or any app approach where zoom sizes are brought in to scale into comparison, or a dot matrix work. So now remember, here it is that they have to evaluate or analyze. So it is going on the higher level in the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. Analyze that scales help to measure actual distances in maps. So the use of scale is to measure the actual distance in the map. So they will now have to analyze scales that are given in maps, which actually help to measure the actual distances. So using the map distance, they can now start predicting what is the actual distance between places in maps. So we have covered legends, we have covered scales also. So now if you look at these activities or the objectives, it also covers whom are we talking about? Now, my objectives, remember, it is for not for the teacher, it is for the students. Okay. After the lesson, students will be able to. So it is for the students, not for the teachers. Please understand, objectives are not for teachers, it is for students. Okay. Develop focus in creating a local map. Analyze and extend the mapping of Earth using coordinates. Explain the importance of types of maps. Compare and contrast the application and use of different types of map. Recognize and appreciate the use of common symbols that help in deciphering maps easily. Next, analyze scales that help to measure. Analyze scales that help to measure distance in maps. So we have covered this many objectives. Now, the next one is understanding the coordinate system. Why should they understand the coordinate system? Because Earth is so huge and we are very, very small. So in order to understand the different characteristic features of Earth, we need to help them understand how to study a larger object that has to be scaled down. So here we introduce the grid system. Okay. So grid system here, they will have to first know what is the importance of latitude and longitudes. Okay. Again here I am using the word recognize latitudes as circles around the earth and longitudes as parallels as parallels. So we'll go with this sentence. So latitudes are circles and longitudes are parallels. Now, so latitude and longitude together, we know constitute a grid. So here we will have to focus next. Now remember, we have to latitudes as circles around the earth, longitudes as parallel. Now we have to focus on together they actually form a grid. This is what we would like our students to understand. So I'm just reducing the size so that it can be visible. So the next object, now remember it's the same topic, but in my plan, can you see how I'm breaking down into different sub-objectives so that I can cover these areas for the student. So next will be formation of grid. Okay. So they will have to understand formation of grid. Okay. So it will be more realize that latitude and longitude form a grid on the surface of Earth. So why is this grid very, very important? The grid part is very important in locating places. So again, I'm going to do, okay. So now latitude and longitude form a grid. So I'm going to, you can use any words, it depends on you. So here I'm going to use evaluate, the use of grid to locate places or position of places on Earth. So remember, I'm still not going into the topic. These are all subtopics which I would like the student to do. Now, for example, when I use evaluate the grid, I'm going to give them the activity of different places where they will have to tell me where it lies, which latitude it lies, which longitude it lies. So when I say recognize latitudes as circle, I'm going to tell them how many latitudes are there, okay, what are the important latitudes, longitudes, okay, what is the important longitude there. Then they form a grid pattern on Earth. Now then I have gone into how they are going to locate the places or position on the surface of Earth. Now can you see how the funnel approach is being followed here? So it goes from a larger surface, larger topic, that is latitude and longitude, to formation of grid, and within that grid it goes to a position. So here there is a clear funnel approach for the topic, which actually helps the teacher also to focus more on what exactly to cover during these topics in the class. So I hope that you have are clear. So meet you in the next class. Thank you.